Is your face and eyes swollen and puffy, or do you know someone who has a swollen face or puffy eyes? This is going to be so easy to fix. Okay, what we're dealing with is edema, swelling. It's too much fluid in the body. The fluid is inside the cells and it's outside the cells, in the interstitial spaces, which is the space around the cells. Now, I know about this because I had it. You can see this in my earlier videos. Look at my eyes. Swollen eyes, puffy face. Now the problem is this extra fluid is not just in the face, in the eyes. It's in the heart. It's in the liver. It's in your cells. It's in your ankles. You could press into the ankle and leaves a little indentation. That's called pitting edema. Sometimes in the lower legs, you could see it gives a shiny appearance where the skin is just bulging out, okay? And then you lose the hair on the bottom of your lower legs. Now, it could be because you're on a low protein diet. When you actually go too low with your protein, the fluid inside your blood vessels can leak out into the cells and start creating edema. But this is usually not the problem, so I'm not going to really talk about it. Now, there's two main types of edema, idiopathic, okay, and pathogenic. Idiopathic means unknown cause. So let's say, for example, someone has this edema and they don't have a bad heart, they don't have a bad liver, their kidney shows up normal, but they still have edema. And then you have pathogenic. This is a person with cirrhosis, and their liver is literally leaking fluid into a sac around the gut that's called the peritoneum. You look on the outside, they look skinny, but they have a lot of retention of fluid in the gut. They may have pitting edema in the lower ankles. That's one version. Or you might have a diabetic that has these huge swollen feet and their ankles are filled with fluid. Sometimes the hand is so filled with fluid they can't actually even bend it. They can't get their rings off. So that would be pathogenic because the kidney, the heart, and liver are a problem, especially the heart. If you have congestive heart failure, the fluid backs up into the tissues as well. And of course, the treatment that is given is diuretics, okay? Avoiding salt, and compression stockings. So let me show you what's really going on behind this condition. It is the high carbohydrate diet. That's right, you guessed it. The average American consumes between 250 to 400 grams of carbohydrates. And I'm not talking about vegetable carbohydrates, I'm talking about refined grains and sugar. Each gram of carbohydrate holds 3 grams of water. So this carbohydrate is acting as a sponge in your muscles, in your liver, around the tissue. So you're basically waterlogged. Now, as far as myself, what I was consuming is fruit, primarily apples. Okay, I used to consume a lot of apples with peanut butter. I would take the Honeycrisp apples, which is basically 19 grams of sugar, and I would cut it and I would have that peanut butter. I would have a snack mid-morning, mid-afternoon, and after dinner. So that's what I was doing. I was eating good otherwise, but I was doing 3 meals and 3 snacks. So if you've been watching my channel, you know the problem with that many meals. You're raising a lot of insulin, and I was getting a lot of sugar. So I was 211 pounds. So right now, I am 180. A lot of that was fluid, okay? And you can see it in my eyes. And as soon as I cut out those apples, the fluid came right off very quickly. And of course, I only consume 2 meals a day right now. First meal right around, 1:30, 2 o'clock, sometimes 3. And the next meal maybe 5 or 6. What happens in addition to this fluid retention is you also create a lot of inflammation. And with inflammation, you're also holding a lot more water. Next thing is that this high carbohydrate diet retains a tremendous amount of salt, okay? So you're holding salt, and with that, you're holding more fluid. The other problem with high carbohydrate diets is you deplete your potassium reserves. So the more carbohydrate you consume in the form of refined carbs and sugar, you're depleting your potassium. Potassium helps to get rid of the fluid. So we have higher amounts of sodium and low amounts of potassium, and we have an imbalance. An average person needs about 4,700 milligrams of potassium. Now, if we look at all the nutrients in the RDAs, potassium is at the top of the list as far as the quantity of that specific nutrient. We just need a lot of it. Okay, like magnesium is like 450 milligrams. Vitamin C is like 70 milligrams. But we need just a ton of potassium. Now, there's been some other studies that prehistorically that we were consuming 11,000 milligrams of potassium. And of course, to get your body at those levels, you're going to have to consume more of these things called vegetables, okay? Big salads. I pretty much do all of my vegetables, most of my vegetables, in one meal. It's a large salad. However, the first meal I do consume fermented vegetables. Okay, so that does add to it, but not in large quantities. You do get potassium from eggs and meats, but not as much as the greens. So let me just explain how simple it is to get rid of that puffiness in the eyes and the swollen face. All you have to do is bring your carbs down. Bring them down below 50 grams or less. Okay, preferably 20 grams. You're going to start to get rid of that excess fluid pretty quick. But in addition to that, also increase your potassium foods, larger amounts of vegetables. These two simple things right here will get rid of the swollen eyes and the puffy face really fast. Thanks for watching. Hey, if you're liking this content, please subscribe now, and I will actually keep you updated on future videos.